Assalamu alaikum. Hello, hi, namaste. Hope you're fine. As you know, always try to connect you with the people who are doing great and inspiring the world. Today we have Coughlan from Poland. He is an serial entrepreneur, founded many companies. He's also a project manager, running for books, right, and running for podcasts and writing for books. And he's also doing a lot. Let's today we will came to know about him and try to learn something from him. This interview series supported by Rehan Foundation Institute of Peace. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, hello. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's honor. Sir, did I pronounce your name right?
It's Roy Coughlan. Yeah, it's close enough.
All right.
Yeah,
I actually before every interview I sometimes ask people to please pronounce your name by yourself because to mispronounce it. But I didn't ask you before, so I asked. Okay, sir, you're doing a lot, mashallah, great. And you're entrepreneur, project manager, then podcast, and then writing. These all things are somehow different but related. But we want to know about your journey, about your story, that how all that things started and how you start all that things.
So I'm actually Irish. I was born in a city called Cork, which is in the south of Ireland. It's the second biggest city. And I grew up in council housing, in terraced houses, in a rough neighborhood. You know, there used to be a lot of fights. I was in probably a fight for most days of my life growing up. I would see people robbing cars, burning out the cars. That was kind of a normal occurrence. And there was a few schools that were near me, but my mother made me go to a better school, which was, 45 minutes away. We didn't have a car, so we used public transport or we walked. And I think that helped. It gave me a bit of an advantage in life by being at a better school. I went to university. I done construction economics and management. Then later, when I finished that, I was trying to get a job, but it was just a bad, I think it was around 93. There was just not many jobs at that time. And I did a government course, construction site supervision, and I taught myself how to do AutoCAD. So with that, I got a job. I was, first of all, just doing AutoCAD on construction sites, but then after a year, they had me running jobs. And in the end, I was with that company for about 9 years. I became a contracts manager. I was running maybe 10 different jobs, have 10 engineers, 10 foremen, and maybe 200 tradespeople under me, and worked all over Ireland. So I enjoyed that. I got to see different parts of my country. After that, then I went to another company doing something similar, but as a regional manager, and I was with them for 3.5 years. Then I started doing property in Poland and moved to Poland, done some commercial property, done developments, built a project of 30 apartments. And I was renovating a lot of properties, maybe 100 properties, doing a lot of that. And that was kind of it, really. I mean, I've done a lot of different businesses. I've done business with mobile applications, creating games. So I'm not afraid to try anything. Sometimes people think you have to study a certain category. The reality is you just bring your skills. And if you bring your people skills, you're able to do anything. You can hire people that can do the skills that you don't have.
Perfect. It's really amazing. Exactly. There's some people said, like, I want to do a lot of things. But there's some people, you're jack of all, but master of none. But I think this is like to explore yourself. It's like to explore your skills, explore your potential. That what you can do. What can you do? Let's try. And it's evolving your personality. That's really amazing. Sir, I was reading that you do a podcast. You're running 4 podcasts. That's really amazing. But their topic corruption, technology, then storytelling. Then you said there only the people came who speak truth. So all the things about what's all that thing because we all did we mostly do for podcast for something, but and for entertainment mostly these things are for entertainment. But your podcasts are different. They are about all that matters, all that problems that we are facing right now. So how that idea came and what's the theme, what's the vision behind?
So what happened is when I was in Poland, I was doing okay, and I had a few different syndicates. And when the economy kind of tanked in 2008, 2009, it came a bit later in Poland, I thought my investors would come around, and I started putting more money into the different projects, but they didn't. They lost everything. And these were some big investors. Some of them were doing like 10 million, 20 million. They lost every single thing, lost properties from all over the world. And eventually I lost everything. And the way it worked out was, in Poland, when you're the president of a company, you're personally liable. And I was the president of a lot of companies, and nobody had told me that. So I went where I was actually responsible for a lot of millions that I was personally liable for. And I got through it, a lot of court cases, and got stuff sold off. But through that process, I realized how much corruption was in the courts, in the banking system, the whole legal system. And that was something that kind of, like I could see it happening in Ireland, all over the world, people losing their houses and, just destroying families. And I was thinking that this is totally orchestrated. So I went to an event 4 years ago. It was in Mexico, and it was the theme was "What's Your Quest?" And it was basically kind of asking what is it that you're living for? Because there's no point in just chugging through life. You have to have a mission. If you have a mission, it becomes better. You get up in the morning with a bounce in your step. You don't just kind of chug through life. And I've decided that I wanted to expose all of this, but with solutions. So at that stage, I realized I'm going to write a book about this. And at the same event, there was brilliant speakers. And prior to that, even though I was running big jobs, I hated public speaking. I mean, I was terrible at it. If I was in a room with running projects in Ireland, and there was architects, there was the client, say 20 people in a room, my voice would go. I was just terrified. So I knew I needed to get into public speaking. So when I came back, I joined Toastmasters, and I just totally embraced it. I joined one club, then I joined another club. A few years later, I actually formed my own business club of Toastmasters, and I really got into it. I started entering lots of competitions and winning competitions, even getting into a final of 5 countries. And I got a lot of experience through that. And when I was at another event, there was a guy, I had no plan on doing podcasting, but there was a guy actually doing a workshop on podcasting. And I thought, oh, this is a good way to get my message out. So I went to the workshop, realized, hey, I can do this. And the one thing that I knew was important was the public speaking, because in society, the best people that are speaking are unfortunately the politicians. And all they do is they tell lies. They're great when they're trying to get your vote, but as soon as they're elected, it's more for themselves than for the people. So I think that to be able to speak in public is very important, because there's a lot of good people out there that want to make change, but sometimes they're not able to communicate properly, and they can't actually stand up on stage and get their message across. So I created this. It's free, and there's like 67 episodes up at the moment, and every single one are different, because there's people telling you how they went through their journey, how they went from being extremely shy to speaking on stage. Some of them have spoke on stage with Richard Branson, on stage with the presidents, and others have done TEDx speeches. Some have 7 million downloads, and they're sharing everything. They're sharing how they prepare a speech. They're sharing how they do a workshop. They're sharing how to get a message across. And even though there's already 67, every single episode has something different to give value. And if you really want to improve in your public speaking, obviously you need to get out there. Maybe like the Toastmasters, it's not expensive, it's a non-profit, but you could listen to the episodes, and they'll actually give you enough tips and tricks, and just start applying them to become a better speaker. So that was the first podcast that I started doing. The next one was the meditation podcast, because when I went through the bad times, the one thing that helped me is I started to meditate. I came across a thing called a 6-phase meditation process, and that really helped me, because one of them was kind of gratitude. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my son. I'm grateful for just being out in the garden having a breakfast. I'm grateful for having a roof over my head. Rather than thinking of all the things that you don't have, start thinking of the things that you have, and it puts you in a better mindset. And the other thing with that 6-phase was about forgiveness, because you get angry. I mean, people that are in business or in relationships, like, you're going to get hiccups in life. There's nothing, you don't have a smooth road. Nobody's road is smooth. You're going to have hiccups the whole time. And you just have to, how you react to that. And if you're able to forgive, you're able to, because what happens is they're not going away thinking of what they've done to you. It's you. So the memory poisons you. So if you can actually release that, it allows you to be freer. and it just makes life so much better. So I realized the power of meditation, and I was listening to different ones, and they started either making them paid meditation, or they just removed them. So I reached out to, I've got friends all over the world, and I just said, look, can you send me some meditation? So I don't actually do the meditation. I just get people to send me different types of meditations or mantras. I mean, I don't like anyone's religion is not my bother. Whatever makes you happy, and as long as you're a good person, that's the most important thing. So I have all different types of meditation and breath work, and that just helps people. And same thing, it's free and it's never going to be taken down. I just leave it up there for people, and I'll be adding a lot more as well. The next one that I did was learn Polish, because I've moved to Poland, and my brother is very good at languages. After 2 years, he moved to Holland. He was fluent. I don't have that ability with languages. We do Irish in Ireland from the age of 4 to 17, and I can't speak Irish. So that tells you my ability of learning languages. But I really want to learn the Polish. So I was CDs constantly in the car, taking lessons. And I can have a conversation, but I'm not fluent in it. So I said, if I start listening to podcasts, I'll become better. And when I started searching them, they were either scripted, which I don't enjoy, because I prefer what we're doing now. We're having a natural conversation, and it's better to listen to that rather than if you had sent me questions and everything is read through it. There's no fun. It's boring. People don't want to hear that kind of thing. So the podcasts were like that, or else they were only in Polish. And that wasn't entertaining for me either, because I'm not going to be able to learn if I can only just hear the Polish. So I started creating one with actually my ex-wife. She's a teacher. I have a very good relationship with her, and it's doing very well. And we put up about 2 episodes a week. I leave in my mistakes, because I think sometimes, I struggle with a word. And I think if people see that they can, say, oh, yeah, I'm not the only one that can struggle with a word. And we've got a bit of humor as well. And we just leave it in. And it's only like 5 to 8 minutes each lesson. But, if you're going for a little walk, if you're doing ironing or anything, you can listen to that podcast, so you can be improving your language in an easy and nice format. And the following one then was based on the book, because I had the book ready 3 years ago, but people told me, no, don't release that. You're exposing too much stuff. And I really didn't care. But my mother was telling me, what about your children? So then I kind of said, okay, fair enough. I held off for a while. And I think now people are a lot more awake around the world. People realize how much corruption is going on. It's not that everything that I have is new. Like, there are so many brilliant books out there, but people aren't reading them. They're too complex. They're 500 pages. So I was just trying to simplify it and giving solutions. So the next podcast is called The Awakening Podcast, and it's where I'm exposing corruption and fraud, but with solutions. And I'm interviewing doctors, pharmacists, and different people. And it's all basically just to, improve humanity around the world. It's not just about Poland, because every single country has the exact same problems, and it's all orchestrated. So if you're aware of it, knowledge is power. And I believe that can actually make change in the world.
Exactly. It's really amazing. In fact, the whole package is there. Meditation. So that's really amazing. I was thinking that the whole, from development to social issues and all that things are there. So the whole package is there. That's really amazing. Sir, I want to know that, as you mentioned, that corruption is really it's a worldwide issue. But as you have experience, so I want to know, what do you think that the basic root or the basic cause behind corruption? What you find, and so the most and the other question, as you are exposing, so it's being somewhat difficult, because we all nowadays we are feared to talk to tell truth, even about someone, about even about even we are feared about telling about reality, talking about reality, because someone if someone got offended, if someone just pushed us, we just have fears. But you are dealing with also, and how that courage came, because it's really courage. It's all that work really needs courage, and only you can, and you persons can do like that work. So what you find the main basic cause behind, and how that courage, you develop that courage?
First, I think you have to not be afraid, because society has us that they try to keep us down. They try for us not to expose expose anybody. Now we see in social media they're hiding truths and they're allowing up all lies. And it's very hard because some of the big boys that are in control of like the likes of Facebook and YouTube, they're controlling everything that's being out there, and unfortunately they're hiding truth and they're putting up the light, like on Google, a lot of my guests, doctors and pharmacists, and I've noticed it myself, a lot of the health stuff, natural health, is being taken down, and it's very hard to find, or they're removing it. And they're big into the pharmaceuticals. So that's one of the industries that I like, because I see it around the world. So like doctors, I mean, if you can get a prescription, like how many doctors will tell you to take something natural? If they'll ask you how much daylight are you getting, how are you sleeping? It's straight away. They don't even ask you these questions. They just want to give you medication. And what a lot of people don't realize is they're getting kickbacks for that. So they're getting financial incentives from the pharmaceutical companies for this. And I was investigating in Ireland. We've got the majority of the pharmaceutical companies, because of tax laws, they're able to do a tax loop, so they don't pay tax really. And what I asked one of the top consultants, which pharmaceuticals don't do kickbacks, because I had seen on The Guardian that they reported SmithKline Beechin were fined 3.6 billion. And she said they all do. So they all do kickbacks. So you're going to a doctor with the hope of getting the best treatment and that to get treated fast. And what they want to do is they want to get you on, say, blood pressure tablets or other type of tablets to make you a customer for life, because they're actually, they're lining their own wallet. And, it's a shame that they don't realize, how much damage they're doing to society. And like we've investigated, like there's very little training done in natural health. Some of them do nothing. Some, we've been told 6 hours for the whole amount of years that they do. The only one that we came across was Albania doing 6 months. So the fact there is a load of alternative medicines, there's a lot of natural treatment through food and everything, and they hide all that. They want to give you, prescription drugs that have a lot of side effects, which, is detrimental to your health. And like the way I see it's hard to get a solution for that because it's a world problem. But the way I see that is there is some decent doctors out there. There's a lot of doctors that are fighting the system, and they're even removed. Like doctors have told me their pages, they had like 40,000 followers removed from Facebook. Why? And there's doctors coming out telling the truth about the current situation, and it's all removed. So the people in charge are evil when they're doing something like that. Why would you hide things like that? So for me, the way I see it is if a document that was created and shared worldwide where a doctor signs that he's not receiving a kickback, and if he is, after signing this, he loses his license never to be able to trade again. So if you had to go to a doctor and there was 5% that agreed to sign this and 95 didn't, you would go to the doctor, the 5%. So eventually their business would totally increase, and the guys that aren't looking after your health would decrease. And that's one of the things that we could do. If we look at the pharmaceutical, it's a huge endeavor to create something like that. But the way I see it is you have to create something that's not on the stock market, because I hear people, they know it's bad, they're complaining about it, and yet they have shares in it. So their pension is invested in it. So you should invest your pension in ethical companies, because why would you be funding these? You're part of the problem if you're investing in these. You need to kind of get out of that. And a lot of people will need to come together to create an alternative pharmaceutical, but one that's actually there to make people healthy, not be patients for life. So there is solutions, but it ain't easy. But I think there's enough people now, because I don't know, have you even heard? Because I was asking people a few weeks ago, in Berlin 2 weeks ago, there was 5 million people marching that had woke up. But people don't, because the press it's all corrupt. They own the press. So you don't see that. There was marches in Dublin, in Ireland, in London. And each time the press is actually saying that the numbers were way less. In Ireland, they said 500, but you could see a square full of people. I don't know how many was there, but there was a lot more than 500. But yet people are listening to that. And, the specialists coming out, they're saying exactly what's happening, and yet they're arresting them. So the people need to, and that's why I'm trying to do what I'm doing with the different podcasts, because knowledge is power. You can't say, I can't do nothing about it, because you can. Every single thing that you do in life is a vote. If you're buying, say, Nestle cereal, you can buy better cereal, you can buy natural food, you can buy better food. Don't be buying stuff with GMO. You can buy toothpaste without fluoride. Every single thing you do is a vote. And if you can even share it with your family, share it with your friends, and explain why you shouldn't do this, the more people that do it, the better then that everybody coming together, and the big boys get smaller and the good guys get bigger.
True, true, exactly. And it's very awakening. Actually, it's amazing. And better the best thing is that with exposing all that problems, you also will provide the solution. That's the important thing, because we usually we usually come to know about the problems. We know that this is the problem. This is the bad thing. But there we have not solutions, and that actually create problems. But that's the amazing thing, that you all will also provide solutions that will actually awaken the people all over the world. That's really amazing. Applause for your work. Super. So, as you have experienced, mashallah, you're doing great. So, I am in my early 20s, but so I ask this question to every experienced person. Like, when you are in your 20s, people say that it's the time when you can make your life or you can break your direction. So, I want to know from your side that what's the thing we need to focus in our 20s, and what's the thing we need to we need not to focus. We need to avoid in our 20s. Like, it's a period when we are too much emotional. Even we just have even we fight with friends, with siblings. It was just like heartbroken. So we take everything too much serious. So I want to know some guide. I want to take some guidance from your side.
Well, the first thing is I would say to people, because sometimes some people, they're kind of guided into a career. So if the family is, like, say, legal, they try to push the child into a legal side. If they're doctors, they try to push them into a doctor. If they're accountants, I would say try to follow your own dreams, and it's okay to fail. If you go down one path, like, it doesn't matter what age you are, like, just keep trying things. Just don't be afraid. Be creative. Do painting. Take up music, because get your creative side flowing. If you do so, try to travel as much as you can, because when you actually meet other people, and if you are able to go to other countries, you'll experience different cultures, and people will share their tips and tricks with you. But if you do decide, just say you study something and you don't like it, don't continue to do it because you think, oh, I can't quit. If you know you don't like it, just quit. You're not a failure. And, like, even if you don't go to university, because some people don't have the opportunity of going to university. A lot of the most richest people have not done university. At the end of the day, just live your heart. Be true and honest, and just don't be afraid to make mistakes, because, like, everyone thinks that if you have a failure in a business, you're a failure. No, you're not. You just know a different way not to do it the next time. And, don't be afraid to ask for help, and just look at different things. Surround yourself with good people. If you're surrounded, like, for your question for you, the one thing I would say is make sure you surround yourself with the right people. And, if one of your friends is really negative and just talks about doom and gloom, don't be afraid to move on and just form different friendships, because you will do that all over your life. There'll be some people, they just don't grow. And if you're growing and you're, just trying to better yourself, you just have to leave people, or they might come back later in your life. But if they don't, it's okay, because there's plenty of people around. And I would say just be honest and open with everything you do. Don't hide emotions. If I have found that if somebody is annoying me or somebody's doing something, I prefer to say it straight out rather than talking to somebody behind their back. I prefer to tell people, and it works out better. People are afraid to do that. Don't be afraid. Just speak your heart. And I think life will kind of make a path for you. And that's what I would say. And the other thing is, make sure you're doing brilliant now, because I see you have a lot of these recordings that you schedule, which is fantastic. So you're good for the communication, but even with the public speaking, and just for, like, say, the public speaking, if you are in a job, because if you're doing an interview, it will help you. if you're a manager, because sometimes you have to deal with the staff. So there's a huge advantage, even in the corporate side of the public speaking. So it's not just about getting your message across, to make change in the world. There's a lot of advantages as well, just around friends, and you get good communication skills. So even if you're just in your circle of friends or your family, you'll be doing a lot more listening than trying to be the person talking constantly, and that will help you.
Amazing, super, exactly. There's some points I never listened before. That's amazing. And if I think so, if we follow these points, if we follow these and drive and follow our drive, like why we want to achieve something, why we are doing this, then we can go, we can reach, we are wonderful. I think so. Uh, a good destination, a good something. Sir, I always ask every person to please define success. But so I want to from your side how you define success, because everybody has a different definition. Everybody defines in a different way. So what is success to you and how you define it?
Well, I think it has evolved over the years, because sometimes people think, when you have a certain car or you have a certain house and you have the certain watch, that's success, and it's couldn't be further from the truth. If that's your belief, I would like you to change that, because a watch doesn't define who you are. What I think success is actually being present in the moment. So even if you are doing something, that you're not waiting, like even if you're going through a course or you're doing anything, to every day just be enjoying it. Enjoy. Like I love when I get up in the morning, do some exercise. I go out, I try to have my breakfast. I'm grateful for the breakfast that I'm eating. If I see a butterfly, I just love looking at butterflies. I think, I look at his journey. 1 minute it's a caterpillar just crawling along, and the next minute it's flying, and just appreciate the birds singing, and just be present when you're with people, because we're in a society now that if you're sitting around with people, that's what you see. They have their phones to their head. So when you're meeting your friends, have a game, put your phone on the table, and whoever picks up loses. That you're totally present. And for me, to be totally present, so that when you do meet your friends, you thoroughly enjoy it. When you go to your family, when you're with your family, you're there, you're engaging in conversation. Everything you do, be present, and that way, that's success.
Amazing, super, exactly. I think so. In this way, we will live life, not spend life, and we usually spend life, not live it, and that's really amazing. So it's really a wonderful session, wonderful discussion with you. Many best wishes for your work. You're doing amazing, great. At the end, sir, anything you want to say, any message, any advice?
I suppose, because sometimes people, they complain about what's happening in the world. So I say, if there's something that you see that's annoying you, don't be complaining about it. Find people that you can make the change together. Whether it's creating like a video thing that you're doing, just spreading the information, do a podcast. It's very easy to get started on a podcast. You can do it for free. Just get a microphone or your phone even. You can do it. So if you want change in the world, be the change that you create, and other people can be inspired to make it better.
Amazing, super. Exactly. And thank you all for watching. Thank you, sir. It's really honor to have you. Thank you for sharing such wonderful talk for this wonderful discussion. And at the end, we always say, as sir also, I second sir message, always say at the end, one thing, be positive, stay positive, and spread positivity. In this way, we can bring positivity around. Take care of yourself and take care of others. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz Rabrak.
Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you.